they don't know when it'll happen, if it happens. Ms. Lena Smith also had suffered with dust, and she have health problems. Now, the citizens, we have had enough, and we're tired. We never felt like that we would be treated like we were treated. We never thought that the county attorney would not advise people of the Disability Act. But we are in violation Section 2 and Section 3 of the Disability Act. And I don't want them to go to federal prison because of doing things intentionally and let everyone suffer. And so that just think about not going to prison and doing what's right. Glad the citizens are tired.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Need a motion to acknowledge. Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Trenora White. I live on 246 Johnson Drive in Ottagawa County, and I'm just doing a follow-up. I came, I think a month ago, about a spot in the road where it had the bell one-sided and nothing been done yet, so I'm just doing a follow-up on it.
You said that's 246 Johnson Road?
Johnson Drive.
Johnson Drive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we have any updates?
We're working in that direction. We just, we worked Blackjack Road last week. We're gonna get there. We should be there within a few days. Well,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the follow-up.
Need a
Motion
motion?
for acknowledgement.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Will there be anyone else that would like to come before? Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
William Oakley, 1489 Hockock Road. First of all, thank you to the Board of Supervisors and the county staff for the service you provided to the county. I live on a mile stretch from Hockock, from Gentry Store, District 5, Volunteer Fire Department, down to Kinder Road. And several days a week I walk that road picking up trash, exercising. Also noticed that there are 5 roads that cross on Hockock Road. And the right-of-way road ditches that feed into that, need some riprap in them. Lots of culverts along Hockock Road under driveways with trees that shed leaves. This time of year, the leaves have stopped the water from flowing through. A beaver doesn't have to stop the water, he just has to slow it down. Those leaves are slowing down water and can cause road problems eventually. The third thing I'd like to mention is last meeting, something mentioned about dirt spoils that are stored at the yard. At our place, we got several places working in our community. We'd love to have some dirt in places I'd like to have that done. Thank you, sir, man.
Thank you. We certainly want to take those items under consideration that you just stated. Need a motion to acknowledge?
Motion for acknowledgement. Mr. Oakley, could you leave, I think I have your phone now, Mr. Oakley. Mr. Oakley, I think I have your phone number, I believe.
Yes.
So would you leave it with us?
Yes.
Motion by Supervisor Williams,
I've got your number, I think you've got mine.
Okay.
second by Supervisor Little to acknowledge. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Would there be anyone else that would like to appear before the board? If not, we'll consider this portion of our agenda as closed. Now we'll move to our presentations. First on the agenda, we've got a presentation coming from White Construction. It's an informational presentation regarding potential jail construction or renovation project. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I am better than I deserve. Presentation might be a little bit of a strong word for what we're fixing to do here. I've met most of you. Sheriff, well, where's Sheriff?
Next door.
Right, okay. Well, I am here for a number of reasons. One is some conversations with Wayne, some conversations with Sheriff Phelps regarding a potential new correctional facility. My name is Rob Mayo, White Construction Company. Very brief introduction. White Construction Company started in Clarksdale in 1971. We have offices in Ridgeland, Mississippi, Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas, Panama City Beach, Florida. Right now, out of our office, we've done roughly 25 to 30,000 beds of, I'm not supposed to use the word correctional, I'm supposed to use the word justice, of justice work. That equates to roughly $1 billion. Right now, we're wrapping up a jail in Warren County, Mississippi. That process was a very typical process for working with the county on the jail. We can get into that in a minute. We're also doing a jail, we're doing a jail in Midland County, Texas. It's a little bit bigger. It's about 800 beds, roughly $175 million. Warren County is 225, expandable to 310, and it's about $55 million. One of the things that we did in Warren County is they had the money for 225 beds, but they felt like in coming years they were going to have the need for 300 beds. So basically we went in and built out food service, maintenance, everything for 310 beds and set it up so all thing they have to do is come drop bloop, another wing on it. And that's all they have to do to increase capacity. Now, I met most of you at various supervisor meetings, different functions. The challenge in having a conversation at those functions is all the outside noise. There's literally hundreds of people wandering around. I don't have a slick presentation. I don't have handouts. Sheriff Phelps has asked me a number of times to come. I'm hoping this is a conversation that will lead to other conversations. What I tell people, and I do a fair number of these, is we've learned a lot of lessons building jails all over the state of Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, and Texas. Let us be a resource. If you have questions, if you have thoughts, I normally have some sort of direction that I've been asked to take this. Today I don't have one. So this is, if you have specific questions about what's going on in Warren County, what's y'all's bed? What are y'all looking at, 350, 400 beds, something like that? Is that a rough?
What we're thinking, I think we were talking about 155, 200.
Okay.
To begin with.
Okay. Well, that's going to be very close to what Warren County is doing right now. One thing I would encourage you to do, y'all know this better than anybody else, the wheels of government do not turn quickly. This is a process. From the time we had our very first conversation with Warren County, it was about 3.5 years before we put a shovel in the ground. Their construction time has been 16 months, I think. So if this is something that y'all are interested in doing, and you want to start putting a shovel in the ground in 3 years, the conversation of how we're going to design this thing, how we're going to finance it, how we're going to build it needs to start right now. And one thing I would encourage, and I think there's a bond guy here that is supposed to be here. That helps me because I get way over my skis when we start talking about bonds and financing and that sort of thing. One thing I would encourage you to look at is the certificates of participation program. It gives you a great deal more flexibility in how you hire, how you procure these services. Additionally, one thing I would suggest, and this is my non-denominational talk. I'm not talking for a White Construction Company right now. The other thing I would suggest you look at is the design build approach. where you hire one point of contact. That would be a design build constructor, and they bring the design team on board. So therefore, the construction, the design, and the ownership are all three at the same time. And at the end of the day, you'll have a set of plans that are constructible, maintainable, and within budget. Now, with that being said, are there any questions that y'all have?
I do, I wanted to ask, like, on a facility like that, if we were looking at, building, one 200 beds with the capability of expanding, more, how much room, how much acreage are we talking?
Really good question. This is not a college dorm where you need 6 feet space all the way around. You need a lot more space. Warren County, I believe their site is about 10 acres, something like that. Now, additionally on Warren County, they're looking at, I hate to say this because it sets expectation. We're right now, fortunately, we're well within budget for Warren County. Now, they have the money. So what do we do if we have some excess money? One of the things they're looking at doing is building some sort of shooting range. So that's going to take up some space. But you're going to need your perimeter. They had to put a water tower on site, so that ate up some space. I'd say 10 acres would be a pretty good starting point. But, other folks, what they've done, we did one for Hancock County. And y'all got some fairly new county and city facilities. They ended up doing a jail, a sheriff's office, and a justice court all in one. And I think they use 15 acres. Something like that.
And that was where?
Hancock County. I would very much encourage y'all to go see Sheriff Ricky Adam, Hancock County. I went to her just probably 2 or 3 years ago. It is now probably 15 years old. It looks 2 years old. And my comment to him was, Sheriff, how do you keep this place in such good shape? And he goes, man, everybody goes to jail. I got painters, I got plumbers, I got electricians. He said, I got people that can push a broom, and it costs me an extra scoop of spaghetti at night to get them up and working. He said, why not use it? He said, sometimes my staff's not crazy about it because it adds to the overseeing the supervisor type roles. But he said, nobody wants to sit and stare at 4 walls. Gets them out, gets them productive. They sleep better at night. They don't fight as much. Use them. What else? Any other questions?
I just thank you for coming today.
Absolutely.
Are you speaking as a design builder?
I am, yes, sir. We can do design build, we can do construction manager at risk. We're a general construction company. We've done everything up and down, but the best results we've seen is to finance it through a certificate of participation and then design build. Because at the end of the day, everybody is on the same page. When you're all planning it and laying it out at the same time, it's kind of hard to point the finger at the architect and go, it's your fault. When we're sitting there, as they draw something out, we price it and say, yes, this will work. It's kind of hard to point at the architect and say,
Rob, do you know what the procurement of something like that looks like? I'd have to do research on it. How do you procure something like that in accordance with state law?
What we did with Warren County, they went through the certificates of participation from a bonding capacity. And their primary purpose or reason for that is, and I lived in Mississippi most of my life, so I feel like I got a pretty good handle. When you try to pass a bond issue for schools, that's not a heavy lift. Most of the time you can get that through pretty easy. They'll even give you some money for road bridge work every now and then. on a bond issue, but you start trying to pass a bond issue for a correctional or a justice facility, it's a little bit more of a lift. When you go through the certificate of participation, you don't have to have a formal bond election. Now, again, I'm gonna get way over my skis real fast if I start talking about the bonding process, but basically, the planning and development, this would be Golden Triangle Planning and Development District, is that right?
Yes.
Yes. They would be the owner, y'all would lease it back.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. When you use that term, that was that approach, okay.
Lease it back from them. With certificates of participation, you can hire based on qualifications. You don't have to go through a hard bid process. And a jail is a very litigious facility. It's not 72 degrees, you can get sued. If it's not built right and somebody tries to go through a escape hatch on top and jumps off the roof and dies, you can get sued. Those are things that you need somebody that's built jails before and knows what they're doing. So typically on something like that, Warren County said, all right, we gotta have a jail. Just for kicks and giggles, their jail was built in 1907 and they were still using it. So very much in need of a new jail. They said, we need a new jail. What's it gonna cost? We helped them with some rough ideas of what it was gonna cost. They said, okay. So they went and sold their bonds. They came back and advertised as a party design, build, constructor. We submitted our qualifications. They selected White Construction Company. We entered into a pre-construction contract, which basically the county paid for the design process. For the design process, at the end of the day, we came to them with a set of plans that was constructible, maintainable within budget. They rolled that into a construction contract, and at that point, we're off to the races. We start moving dirt around and throwing steel in there and putting concrete on the ground.
Did they do an actual justice complex with the court system or just a?
Just a jail.
Okay.
Just a jail.
You mentioned, was it Hancock that from the time the conversation began until shovel in the ground was 3.5 years?
That's Warren County.
Warren County.
Yes, sir.
So, my question sort of along those lines. So, you've done this before. Can you walk us through, starting from today? We're sort of opening up a conversation today. So, over the next several years, what does that look like? Do we simultaneously try and identify funding along with developing plans and identifying locations? And so what does that sort of look like?
Again, very, very good question. One thing that's hugely important on this is the community buy-in. And there's several ways to do this. And I use this that everybody's a human being, deserves to be treated as such. We all make mistakes. And I've got a really good story about that. Now's not the time or the place. Then you have the other people that say, well, we don't need to raise taxes to get this done. Well, at this point, we've got a foot in both buckets. We have an outdated facility that's putting our guards, our law enforcement in danger because it's not a secure facility. It's putting our detainees at risk because it's not safe. It's not up to code in a lot of places. You gotta do something. And there is no money tree that you can go get money from. So you gotta do something. I mean, it's literally a foot in both buckets. So the conversation is, this is what we're gonna have to do. A usable life of a jail is about 25 to 30 years. Now, that's a relatively short number compared to some other facilities, but you gotta remember a jail is going 24 hours a day. So it's gonna age roughly 3 times as fast as a courthouse may. So.
Are there any regulations, I'm sorry,
No, you're good.
went to the last section there.
No, you're good, you're good.
Are there any regulations as to how far it can be from a courthouse or the reason I asked, I heard a situation where we had to be within a certain amount from city limits or from a courthouse, and I wasn't real sure, and I figured you might.
There's something there, I can't remember exactly what it is, I believe it's from the city limits.
Is it a federal code or is it, I don't think it's state.
It's a federal code.
Mississippi code?
It's a regulation in terms of how far the sheriff's office can be
Yes, sheriff's office, yeah.
from the. But not the jailhouse, not the jail
Thank
itself. But that does mean that you wouldn't be necessarily dealing a sheriff's office in there, just maybe some temporary come in and go out. But the sheriff had to have an office somewhere else that's closer to the courthouse.
Right, you could put some sort of office in the jail.
Yeah,
I
something.
mean, you're gonna need something there. Tippahawk County is not alone in the situation that they're in right now. There are a number of counties that have very aged justice facilities inside the city limits. Citizens don't want the jail in the middle of town, and developers want that property. My son is in school at Mississippi State right now. We come up here often. I do not recognize it from when I was here. Now, when I was here, the dinosaurs were still roaming the earth. But I do not recognize this town. It's blowing and going. Y'all have a tremendous opportunity. Developers want where the jail sits. Most supervisors are looking for an opportunity to move it out into the county. Y'all have that opportunity right now. So, again, we've done quite a few of these. Whatever we can do to help answer questions, that sort of thing, just remember that the one thing I want y'all to remember from this is the time it takes to get it done. If you want to put a shovel in the ground 3 years, you need to start making plans right now. And we will be at the supervisors meeting in June. Most of y'all have my contact information. Feel free to call me. We'll be at the supervisors meeting in June. We can sit down and talk then. I'll be at the Sheriff's Association first week in June. See Sheriff Phelps then. So,
Well, we certainly do appreciate you coming
Absolutely.
to talk to us. We do realize that this conversation has started, and there's a reason why it started, and there's a need. Our Sheriff Phelps and his staff do a wonderful job with the jail that's there now. But he realizes that, it's time to start this conversation. I don't know if
he was here earlier because
if you want to ask. Okay, I don't know what Chief is back. I don't know if you want to add anything else to this conversation today. Captain Word.
They're all on the same page, dialogue.
Well, we certainly appreciate it.
Well-
Is it anything else?
I appreciate the opportunity, and the one statement that I never thought I would get to say is, I'm just glad I made it through the snow to get here. I can't remember the last time I drove through that snow. Thank y'all for the opportunity, I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thank you, safe travels. Motion to acknowledge, motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Carver. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, next on the agenda, we've got a presentation coming from MedStat EMS. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Lord.
Good morning.
Follow up from him, I got sunburned working in the yard yesterday and drove through the snow this morning. So I figured I got up here in the sunshine. Some of y'all I haven't met. I'm Mickey Ramsey. I'm the new operations manager for MedStat EMS. Got with me Billy Casey, one of our from our air side. We come to you today just asking the future of MedStat EMS within Tippahawk County. We've been here vendor through the or your partner through the hospital's contract since May of 2023. It auto-renewed in May of 2025. Was originally supposed to be a 2-year extension, but was only given a 1 year due to the pending hospital sale. With that, we're coming up on that 1 year mark, and we're just trying to see what the direction is or the vision is from the county for the ambulance provider. Because we wish to continue to be your partner in healthcare in Oktibbeha County, currently and for as many years as possible. If y'all have any questions of me particularly, or would like anything from me?
I'll probably refer to the CAO if you want to comment on this, and I can chime in with this. Really, at this point, I would say really at this point, it's just still Baptist's decision at the point. I think on the agenda we're going to do some type of EMS transition team.
So, Rob, correct me if I mistake this, right, but the purchase agreement, which is our agreement with Baptist, has them hosting or holding the responsibility to provide ambulance services for the performance period, which was determined to be 5 years.
That's correct.
So that 5-year period started October the 1st of 2025. Until the end of that performance period, they have the obligation and the right to select the vendor that will provide those services. I don't want to speak for them here. I know they have a preferred provider. Now, based on my conversations with them, I don't think that they would object strenuously if this board had a preference. With that said, though, I don't know that we have any legal right to require, to force a vendor on them. Later in your packet, we're looking forward towards this end of the contract, right, or this renewal period. And what I'm asking the board to do later on in the meeting is to establish a committee. And that committee would then take on the responsibility of doing some phased planning. The first phase being looking at towards the end of this current renewal, and then further into the future strategically as to what we want to do for ambulance services in Oktibbeha County, to put the necessary policies and plans together and bring them back to the board prior to June the 30th. And you said May. I may have misinterpreted.
We did the contract was signed in May. But it goes through June 30th.
Okay, all right. Prior to June the 30th, with a recommendation to this board on the strategic direction of where we're trying to go to over the next number of years.
I can talk to George as well. I can talk to him about some other stuff. I'll put it on the list of other.
Who'd you say, George?
That's their legal counsel on that side of it.
Okay.
I'll talk to him and try to kind of get a bearing as to where they are. It's through no fault of your own. Some of this we're just having to figure out as we.
Well, I think it was a wise decision to extend that contract for a year. In other words, when we were selling the hospital, we didn't want to interrupt these services, right? And the easiest thing to do was to renew your contract and then to get the hospital sold, get all of that working, and then address ambulance services at a later date to try and ensure we had continuity of service.
Right.
And so, that's the main thing we're looking for is, number one, we want the best service we can get for our citizens. Number two, we want continuity, and we want to have, we want it to be cost effective for the county and the citizens.
And I have sat and spoke with Mr. Flynn, and he was kind of the same way. Just as he was getting his feet wet, he did make mention that he's had nothing negative brought to him about MedStat. He goes, it's kind of a good thing. If you're not on top of my radar, that means y'all doing something right. we want to continue to be in this county. Even with the leadership change, we want to continue to be a partner in Oktibbeha County and do whatever it takes to make that happen, to give the best service to the citizens that we can.
We certainly agree that you all have done an outstanding job offering, services to Oktibbeha County. I hadn't heard anything bad, even with my experiences. I know you all have been top notch. And I do understand the need for sort of wanting to know what the future holds. But I think, our county administrator sort of laid out where we're at. But again, you know, it's always good to say, well, these guys have been top of the line.
Well, we hope we get your vote of confidence in communications with the county or with the hospital.
Absolutely.
If there's anything that we can do in those conversations, we can be a part of, either by phone call, a Teams call, or with a little heads up notice in about 2 hours, I can be on site at any given time. Either from my Winona office, my Batesville office, or my residence in Canton. It's an hour and 48-minute drive, so that's about how much heads up notice I need, and I can be there. Any other questions that y'all have for us as far as the ground side of the ambulance? Concerns, desires? Some other part that you may or may not know is, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Casey, is, you know, GMR as a whole med staff is also the Air brand as well. Air evac helicopters, wing helicopters, air care helicopters, we're all a collaborative family of one. And the air care helicopter that's currently stationed in Columbus, Mississippi is moving to Oktibbeha County. And so I'm going to let Billy speak on that and give a little insight on that, just to see that it's a collaborative, full thing.
Sure. Just, you know, complimentary of your current partnership with med staff, you know, just to consider, you know, strategically throughout the state of Mississippi, we have 11 assets. Several different brands, as Mickey mentioned, UMC Air Care, Hospital Wing, Air Evac Life Team, Mississippi Air Rescue, and Hospital Wing, which came from the Hospital Wing program, became a GMR program in 2021. And they're also the preferred air provider for Baptist Memorial Healthcare as well. So essentially just wanted to lay that out for the group, you know, just to give you an idea of the collaborative approach that we share together and the critical assets of your partnership with med staff and the county as well. So.
Thank you. Certainly appreciate it. Any questions?
And one last thing is GMR offers an air membership, which can be inclusive to the entire county. On the latest census, 51,000 residents in Oktibbeha County. And that air membership would cover every single citizen of Oktibbeha County. And that's some of the fears that we hear a lot of times on moving patients by air versus ground. No, we don't want to put them in the helicopter, it costs too much. There's a membership that's available that covers everybody. And you can take that fear, that burden away.
How much does that cost, like per person?
There's different options. You can do it per person, which is $99 a year.
So we run a model for municipalities where it's a cost per citizen. So in a new RFP or a new negotiation with a new contract, we could have that as an add-on benefit as well to cover the time.
Because I know that we, our family has that
Right.
already.
And that covers any of our brands.
An individual should be less than $100 a year for your household.
I'm not sure if it's through GMR, it could be.
And it's probably the air care or the air evac plan.
I know it's air care, there's a version.
Then it's, and that covers all brands. And some clarity on that I got is the helicopter that's going to be positioned and stationed here, housed in Oktibbeha County is air care. But in the event a wing helicopter shows up or an air evac helicopter shows up, it's still covered. In the event you're down on the coast for vacation and a rescue helicopter, one of our rescue brand helicopters on the coast shows up, you're still covered anywhere in the state of Mississippi, essentially.
Ours is anywhere.
Right.
In the United
Right.
States.
It does go abroad.
Yeah.
I also got clarity last week for all of the students that are on campus. You know, the driver's license may say they live in Nebraska, but if they are a student resident at Mississippi State University at the time that they need air transportation services, they would be covered under that same contract. It would be hard to go to every single student that has an out-of-state address and cover that on the front side, but in the event that that was to happen, it would be handled on the back side, that we would see that, you know, yes, they are a resident of Oklahoma County during that time period. They live on campus, they live in the dorms, they would be covered even though their driver's license says they live in Nebraska or whatever that case may be. Or somebody that's recently moved here and just hadn't updated their driver's license yet, which is how typically the bill is going to be generated based off of the address on the driver's license. But all it takes is just proof that Oklahoma County was their place of residence at the time of service, and they would be covered under that as well. So that's just another package that's involved that can be included to get the whole, everything from air and ground.
I'd just like to commend you for your service.
Thank you.
You've done a really good job. And the air service, I know that you saved a person's life because he would have lost all of his blood if you wouldn't have got him to Jackson in time. And I can talk to you more about who that, you probably know who that person is. But you saved his life, he was losing his blood.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. Any other questions?
Well, we certainly appreciate
Yes, sir.
y'all coming, and hopefully today we've said something that maybe gets you out of limbo a little bit.
And that's our, like I said, we're just coming in the contract, we're coming in on that backside, and it's hard to recruit, it's hard to retain. Because people are like, we don't want something to be going on in 100 days from now. You know, so it's hard to hire an employee that would be an asset that may be unemployed in 100, 120 days, and that's what we don't want to have. So having that strength and stability, reinvesting is what we're trying to do.
Totally understandable. We'll moving forward, we'll do what we can to try to keep everybody informed.
Yes, sir. If there's anything we can do, we call. I know Mr. Wayne has an email list, he's got my contact information. And anybody else needs it, I'm out of business cards, I'm giving a whole lot out lately. But I can give you my phone number right now or my email address if you need it.
What's your phone number?
601-668-7804.
If you get a chance, would you drop some cards?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll get some back to you. Like I said, I got some new ones that came in Friday, and I was out of office Friday at another location, so but I'll get some of them to y'all.
Thank you all so much for coming. Motion to acknowledge. Motion by Supervisor Carver, second by Supervisor Little. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda, we got another presentation from governmental consultants. Mr. Nick, good morning, sir.
Good morning. I won't make a weather comment, there's already two. So I won't make it a third. Good to see y'all this morning.
Yes, sir.
The administration and I had a couple conversations about a couple of things, and I think part of what we talked about was there was some discussion by the board about considering doing another borrowing option going forward. So we put together just a sample timeline. We're going to talk about that for a minute on the process. Just as a reminder, everybody, it requires an intent notice to be published. That's run the paper, it's identified amounts, security structures, various different things. And then when you go through that period, you close it with a no protest resolution, bond resolution, file validation. So the earliest these things can ever move is 90 days. But it's always a reminder to tell everybody is when you issue a intent resolution, you have 24 months to do take any action after that, right? So you whatever case and whatever the case may things become, once that intent resolution is initially filed, you've got some time, right? And so timing is what we want to talk about today. A little bit of an issue I think we have are a couple of things that I want to identify, but also get, whatever instructions that the board has on what they desire to do. But I guess, let me just jump right out the gate real quick. You already have bond proceeds that are outstanding right now. And so through the process of issuing bonds, 90-day process from intent resolution to closing, there are regulations on the expenditure of bond proceeds for tax exempt purposes. So IRS standards require that 85% of bond proceeds be expended within 36 months. We're still holding on to some bond proceeds from the issuance in 2024 that I think we would need to get those proceeds allocated out and spent as we move forward, kind of from here, right? So my first recommendation is let's get a plan to get that going, and let's get a plan to figure out what we're gonna do next to kind of get there. That is of the utmost importance right now. Is allocating those
bonds got to be expended by 2027.
They would be, yeah. 85% of it needs to be expended, and I think you've only expended about 25% of it right now.
What bond proceeds is that?
It was a $10 million issue. I think there's around $8 million or so, if I remember right, is still outstanding out there, right? So, I think we need to get a plan on getting that expended, and also let's get a plan on what the board would like to do next, right? I think there's some things that were discussed earlier. I think there's a lot of things that we talked about over some time about a variety of other different, topics and items that are out there.
Time out for a second.
Yeah.
Because that's on there, and I'm gonna get about 50 million questions as to why we're trying to do a bond while there are $8 billion that hasn't been spent. There were several road projects that are pending, that are in our districts that we're doing, and I think there was some discussion about whether or not some of that might be used for this justice complex or some of this other stuff. So there were some question marks as to what was going on. I just don't want our citizens out there not to be aware of why that we're having this discussion now.
It's not obligated per se, but of that, does that reach that 85% threshold stuff that's in the, justice complex alone will reach it, but everything else, the road project?
The road projects will reach it, from my understanding. My understanding is that money can be spent. It just needs to go ahead and be allocated and shot out the door with it.
Yeah, it's a very valid point. I apologize. Let me backtrack for a minute. Yes.
I just know the questions.
Yes. Yeah. So there was ARPA projects that there was some match money, there was some shuffling, some things that caused a delay on a couple of those items, right? So it wasn't intentional. I think it's just part of a wide variety of contracts that are currently out there that need to be completed and matched and done. Yes, sir.
As far as you say completed, does that mean all that's to the end process before we can just start this discussion on these bonds, or is it how far along?
I think we can have a discussion.
No, yeah. So I think that's what, if there's a plan and there's funds are obligated, I think what we want to talk about is let's put together a plan about other things the county wants to get done. Whether it's building, whether it's road, whatever that is, right? Is match this timeline window with an expenditure process that gets those funds expended, and then also whatever new things the county wants to get done kind of going forward. I'd like to, we talked about it a couple of years ago, we did a 4-year plan, we kind of prescribed some things out there. I'd like to revisit that again. Take a look at, what we can accomplish over the next couple of years so that, we're making as much of a gain out of any money that we borrow that we possibly can.
Well, I was just gonna say, just to, this figure, $8 million, I want people to start thinking that's an unlimited amount of money when it comes to projects, because it's not. That $8 million can be eaten up fairly quickly as we allocate projects. But I also think that this is a tool that the board can put in its toolbox as far as future planning and being proactive instead of reactive. That's why we're having these conversations and starting to look at the options as we move forward, because we know we can allocate that other bond funding quickly, and then all of a sudden.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So
that's right.
I just want to.
We have a plan that was put together where those funds were going to be spent, and those contracts exist, and that project, that work is going to get done, right? And so it was well thought out when we did this process in 2024 when we were going to get done with it, right? So what I'd like to look at is what's the next iteration. What can we plan? What can we sit down? Can we draft up come up with a list of projects that are the next round of things that the board wants to get done, and figure that part out.
Yeah, much of those funds have been allocated, and much of which is already under contract to be
Yes, sir.
completed.
Yes, sir.
So, I think a lot of it's because of the weather
Mhm.
have stopped some of it from taking place. But hopefully we can get back on those projects and get them completed right away.
Yeah, I think a lot of the projects are also, when our county election comes up, were delayed, were put off until this spring. You know, before, you know, they've already, you know, my recollection is correct, they didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just asking, let's just revisit that, right? Let's just see where those things are. Let's make sure that that's allocated, it's just planned, and then let's, you know, come up with a game plan for the next phase of some things that are going on. I mean, I've got plenty of issues with other issuers where it's been 6 years and we still have projects going on, right? So it's not uncommon. I just want to make sure that we're tackling everything that we can tackle.
So at this point, all that we can do is just issue the notice of intent.
Well, yeah, that starts the process. That's correct, right? I mean, it takes 3 weeks to start the process from whenever that notice of intent is published until you can even consider doing the next step from there, right? And so we always talk about this legal process involved in it. That has to run the clock. So that process can start. You still have 24 months from there to complete whatever you need to complete. You just need to identify a certain set of parameters, being, you know, amounts and terms. Generally, you're pretty liberal in those terms when you put them inside those documents. That way, you don't kind of tie yourself into a situation as you're developing a plan about what to do kind of moving forward.
My suggestion, because, you know, I have enough, I don't think we're gonna have a problem if the board agrees to some of the stuff that we've been kind of pushing. I've been meeting with Mr. Pritchett the other day, and we have quite a bit of projects already obligated and under contract, and I'm glad we do, because we never anticipated us being in an international conflict that would rise the prices of things. And so we got contract with those contractors right now, that, you know, that we're gonna obligate them to hold them to their feet to the fire with the prices they gave. Now, if they walk away from it, I can't do anything about that. But we got enough projects out there to really spend down quite a bit of that money. And then, of course, if the board decides to go forward with the issue, then of course we know we've already been taken care of, and then other money will be utilized based upon counted other profits. So
That's right, yeah.
I think we already around there. All we got to do, we rating on good weather. We got 4 contractors, I think, maybe 5. That's waiting to go to work. So we're gonna spend down quite a bit of the allocation that I got. But I need some additional allocation to do the other stuff I need to do. And what you can do is let me go ahead, since I got the contract in hand, that's gonna probably be, if I had to rebuild them, I'm sure they're gonna be at least 20 or 30% more. It's gonna cost us more. See, this thing is getting very interesting now, because you got to have contracts in hand. We never know what's gonna happen on no level, but if we got a contract in hand, at least we can say, well, hey, are you gonna honor this contract? And if they're not, then I guess we have to go another direction. But we got a contract with those contractors, and they're ready to go to work once the weather gets ready.
That's right.
So, I mean, that was, I didn't envision all this happening, but it just happened.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think, you know, and rightfully so, with the ARPA money getting matched and some other things, it kind of shifted a few things in different directions, right? But, yeah, I would not imagine how much it costs to do pavement, do asphalt now compared to what it was a couple months ago, you know, the contract, so. Also, to answer the question earlier, about, I'm not an attorney, but state law does require the jail to be located where the sheriff's office is domiciled, which means city limits.
Thank you.
That's what it says, where the sheriff's office is domiciled, right? So there's 2 counties in which we construct the facility outside of city limits by obtaining a local and private to do that. One being Warren County, and another one, a couple other places that we've done some work at as well too. So this is a consideration about the topic earlier.
We certainly appreciate it. Again, today just sort of starts the process with a motion for intent.
Yeah, so we would
3 weeks after And we got 24 months to.
24 months from there. So the decision would be is we would need instructions to come back, draft the intent resolution, identifying amounts and terms, present to the board for the board to approve. So,
Funds could be available in 90 days, could be.
yeah, yes, sir, if you move through everything as expeditious as possible, validation had no challenge, no issue in terms of getting stuff done, right? I mean, that's the most, on the timeline that we provided, that is the most quickest possible way.
Have the interest rates? Oh, never mind, I'm not gonna ask this question.
She was talking about it.
Yeah,
It is. Yeah, it is.
I'll ask you a question.
We go ahead and move forward with the notice of resolution and authorize government consultants. to get it together.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer that we move forward with resolution of intent. Second by Supervisor Williams. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Yes, sir, thank you. And as normal, we will, when we come back, we'll work through some financial options, some scenarios. We'll catch up on some things and we'll be prepared to have a deep discussion.
Given the current motion, would I need to get with bond counsel and get those resolutions drafted up and all the engagement stuff done to bring back in the first meeting in April for ratification? Is that
Yes, sir.
okay?
Yep. That's right. Good. Thank y'all.
Absolutely. Thank you. The motion by Supervisor Carl, second by Supervisor Little to acknowledge. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Now we're down to our consent agenda portion. Is there anything that any member of the board wants to pull out?
I don't want to pull anything off, but just for order of housekeeping, on the reappointment to the airport board, I'd like to make a motion to approve reappointment of Mr. Trey Breckenridge for that. Is that considered in this consent agenda? Or
It is in the consent agenda, so we wouldn't have to do that separately, I don't believe, but if you'd like to pull it out for the purposes of having it separated, we could certainly do that.
No, Mr. Breckenridge has done a fine job appointing us, and also the liaison of Mississippi State. So, and then I'm not taking nothing off. I just wanted to take a point to honor myself. I've gotten recently elected, and she was rolling off the board, and I know y'all know her well. But she was just always straight to the point and tell you how to do a better job as an elected official and how to listen to people. And she was a listener, and she was a leader in the community. Kind of, like I said, called past each other passing, but always talk the world over. She'd always call me and tell me what she thought, and didn't like how I voted, but liked how I voted, but just always really highly respected listening. That's how you.
And I would certainly like to bring attention and offer a thank you to the board for the proclamation for my brother, Mr. Ricky Isle. Certainly make sure we want to bring some attention and some thank you to the board on his behalf, on behalf of our family. Is there anything?
I'm pleased with the way that you are doing the resolutions. We've had problems in the past, like funerals and things like that. Well, the funeral will be over with because we had to come back to the board.
The proclamation allows us to do the proclamation and then ratify it later, whereas a resolution would have to come before the board, which is why we've adopted the proclamation for these things that happen pretty quickly.
I'm glad to see the way we're doing it, and I think we're making a lot of families happy as a result of that. Because in the past, I've seen where other agencies have had proclamations to present, and the county did not have anything because we were waiting until the board meet again. So thank you for what you're doing to get that taken care of.
Yes, sir.
And I will say on Jeanette's self that she was a county employee. She worked with us for years in the Jeanette office.
Any other comments on the consent agenda? If not, can we get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Supervisor Carl, second by Supervisor Little. Any other discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we're now down to our fire coordinator, Mr. Patrick Warren.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I think we've been lucky here with the weather. We didn't have much damage to the county. I think Jarvis will probably come up and speak a little bit more about that. I'm here this morning to get the board approval for the, or to ask for request board approval, for the authorization for intergovernmental sale of a 2021 Rosenbauer fire apparatus and a subsequent, purchase of a 2026 commercial fire apparatus and a 2026 rush truck.
Need a motion? Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
If I may, ask the board, I got one more item for, the agenda. It's not on the agenda because it was, I was not able to get it to, Mr. Carpenter in time. And this is a time constraint. I would like to put in, I'd like to request to, put in for a Mississippi Department of Homeland Security grant this due coming up. And I would like for the approval to put in for this. 100% paid, will not cost the county any money at all. And I would like to put in for that grant.
Need a motion to authorize, motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Little. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Would you state the name of that grant again, please?
Mississippi Department of Homeland Security.
Is this the same Homeland Security Grant Program that Jarvis is putting in for?
Yes, sir, it is.
So we'll submit two applications, one for the fire and one for the,
Yes, sir, that's why I wanted.
and that's next on your agenda, by the way, so you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we have our Human Resource Officer, Ms. Franklin. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys? What I'd like to do today is with the approval by the board to publicly post a request for qualifications for brokers of record and employee benefits consulting and administrative services to benefit our employees and to have administrative be more efficient and effective. This proposal recommends consolidating employee benefit services through a competitive RFQ process. Consolidation would approve a centralized benefits model that improves employee support, enhances service consistency, and reduces administrative burden, ensuring the county's benefits program is managed professionally and effectively. The issue date would be March 23rd, 2026. We would ask for that deadline on April 10th, Friday. The top 2 to 3 candidates could possibly present to you on Monday, April 20th, and then we would give that notice of award on May the 1st. This project aims to consolidate Oklahoma County's current multi-vendor benefit system. We currently have 7 plus. Improve the employee experience by reducing confusion and increasing access to clear, consistent benefits. Strengthen our compliance, oversight, and cost efficiency, and modernize the benefits administration framework to support organizational growth and transparency. So I'm recommending that the Board of Supervisors authorize the county administrator to initiate a competitive selection process for the administration and management of the county's employees benefits program. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
It's a good move.
It's a good move.
Absolutely. Can I get a motion? Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Williams. Any other discussion? All in favor?
I like to see it working.
Thank you so much.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much, Ms. Franklin.
Thank you, Chair.
Next on the agenda, we have our emergency manager. Mr. Boyd, good morning, sir.
Good morning, board. How
Did you
y'all?
get any sleep last night?
A little bit. Yeah, we woke up this morning, right back in it again this morning, so. I'm asking this morning to apply for the fiscal year 2026, the Mississippi Department of Homeland Security grant. Fire Coordinator alluded to, there is no financial burden for the county. That grant is a 100% grant. If approved, we plan to utilize that particular grant to its fullest here in October.
Move approval. Motion by Supervisor Carver, second by Supervisor Little. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda, we have our county engineer, Mr. Pritchard.
I feel like I've been on this the most of the morning. First thing I have for you is the proposal for the slope repair, emergency repairs at Ford Professional Plaza. We received a fixed proposal from Geo Stabilization Company. This includes stabilizing the embankment, a system of soil anchors, and repair of a portion of the concrete pavement that was damaged as a result of the slope failure. Total amount is $438,422.62. That is for the contract work. Engineering would be on the order of 10%. Some of that, a small portion of that, has already been paid by OCH for preliminary work that we did, soil investigation and schematic design and topo and that type of stuff. So it's a pleasure to the board.
So, well, we got a motion and second in discussion. Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Carver. Discussion. Yeah, discussion, where you need.
No, sir, I just wanted to, in case y'all had a question that I'd like to help address.
Okay.
All right.
We have that money put up for that, do we not?
Yes, ma'am, we do. We had set aside $500,000 to execute this. So it's available.
I have a copy here of the plans and the contract document.
They've been provided the primary documents. I didn't give them all those supplemental
I've tried
schedules,
to-
but
This is pretty lengthy. This covers all your general conditions and special conditions and taking care of the, existing tenant and all the things that go with executing the contract on public property. But I have provided that electronically.
yes, and some of that is in your packet. I didn't provide all supplemental schedule. I would like to remind the board that in December, we declared this as an emergency. That was necessary because of the nature of the slide and the slope and the risk that it was posing to the building. That freed up some procurement, that freed us from some procurement requirements that would have slowed this process down significantly, that we didn't want to take that risk. And so Mr. Pritchard solicited a bid or got this quote from the one vendor that he had been working with in trying to do this emergency for the hospital. It never got done due to we kicked off the sale and it just consumed everybody's bandwidth, and this project kind of got left to the side.
Just in layman's terms, sort of just to describe what's fixing to take place. There's a slope that needs to be reinforced, and at the same time, where the building has settled, they're going in and
Actually,
pump that.
coming in with soil anchors that will be driven, installed almost up under the building. Right, to stabilize the slope. And then there's some concrete that has been failed, destroyed as a result of the slide in there, and this contract provides for replacing that concrete. Now, there's other concrete on the site, to be very frank, that needs some work, but this doesn't cover all of that. I did get a unit price in this proposal for additional concrete repair, additional slope repair to the deal. But this strictly addresses what we deem to be as a result of the slide.
And just because this also involves Baptist, have they reviewed the proposed repairs? And
They have not to my knowledge.
so how?
Rob may can help us speak to this, but
Until, it's still on the building.
Okay.
And until we fix this, and we still have the issue that we've got an order from a judge that has cleared this was the same one that had the issue with the tax deal. So it's still in our hands. My hope is that we retain this building, and I'm gonna talk with Baptist about that, but until this is fixed and until that's cleaned up, there was really no reason to do it, and to do that, but they are aware of this process.
Okay.
My understanding of the asset purchase agreement is they left that building with us for the purposes of this repair.
Correct.
And they have no, I won't say that they don't have an interest in it, but I will say that they have no legal authority to dictate how we handle this.
I just was concerned about possibly, because there is something in the contract, I don't know if we can just decide we're not gonna let you have it, but I think there's some.
That's correct. Yes, sir. There's $500,000 that Baptist has set aside in escrow, so that when we get this building repaired and we're prepared and we're ready to turn this building over to them, they will release that $500,000 to us, which would reimburse us of the cost of the repair should we not maintain this.
Correct.
facility.
And the only little concern I was just to make sure that I guess Baptist is in the loop, so we make these repairs and then they come in and say, you know, we don't feel comfortable with those repairs.
They
That's
have
the only
never
little fuzzy.
indicated anything during the negotiations, nor in the purchase agreement that they wanted to be involved in pre-approving the plans or anything of that nature. So we haven't reached out to them. Now, Robin's been in conversation with them about the status of the repair.
Right.
Okay.
But not necessarily the design and the fix and all the details.
Well, to speak to the timeline just a little bit, and Rob, I did copy you.
Thank you.
Just with the electronic version. But we'll have to get a copy of the board order should you approve it today. And I would need that just as quickly as possible. That will prompt a notice of award to the contractor. He's gotta go secure performance and payment bond, come back, sign contract. So if you wanna route it through, Patrick, it's probably time to do that.
No.
Yeah, I believe.
That will create,
I mean, just during that loop, but that's up to y'all.
I would prefer we move forward. I can handle Baptist's side of this.
We think this is 3 to 4 weeks' work. They have 120 days to buy the proposal. Contractor has said that he's ready to come to work, but we gotta get the bonds in place.
How far out is your timeline to start?
My timeline to start, again, is getting the board order and him returning the bonds to me, and then me sending him a notice to proceed based on having received the bond.
So the current board order that we would do today would serve as your authority to issue a notice of award, and then an additional notice to proceed upon receiving the bond.
Correct. I'll
Okay, so
get
you wouldn't
those
need anything
email
further
to
from
you,
this
you
point.
look at the bonds, and then we can tell him to proceed. He can't secure the bonds till I hand him the board order.
So we're a couple of weeks out before you can even.
Couple of weeks out is what I'm trying to say, but I have to have, for him to get the performance bond and the payment bond, he needs the board order authorized.
Gotcha.
Well, unless we do something rush, to expedite it, you won't get the board order for a week or more.
Right. It'll take at least that.
So that's the timeline. Starts right here, we all approve the project.
Okay, I think we got a motion and a second already, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Y'all ready? I also need an order, and if this has happened, I haven't seen it. But I need an order to advertise LSPP 5319. That's Osborne Road 3. We finally got Corps Engineer approval Friday. We got approval from state aid to authorize to advertise that job.
Make a motion to move forward.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Can I get some information on that bridge, just some sort of little write-up from you that I can include in the packet, the official packet for the record.
There's plans and documents.
I'll be in touch with you.
Can you repeat that, LCP?
5319, that's Osborne Road 2. Previously, you authorized county funds to put the third coat of seal on Moorhigh Robinson Crawford, which is a state aid project. Mr. Cartner, I've sent you an email on where I'll need a check sent to. State aid will want to deposit those funds because they will be the ones administering the project, even though it's all money that's going to route through them.
Yeah, I've seen your email. I was out last week and haven't got back on it. I need to discuss it with Supervisor Trainer and Supervisor Williams to try and figure out what that split looks like. I may need to get with you and get a better understanding of the percentage split on the cost of that project.
I'd be happy to give it to you. The total was 169, 10230.
They approved it last board meeting. I'm just gotta get that little piece of information and have a
Before I get it
conversation
right
with these two.
contractually, I need to send them a check.
Yeah.
This is your current status of funds. This came in last Friday for state aid. Right now, your road money has increased a little bit again. It's $624,634. So you're seeing a pretty healthy monthly increase.
Were you able to get a cost estimate on the repair of Maven Bell?
I did. I've got some history on that. Our current repair cost estimate on Maven Bell Road is $1,835,364.90. $1,835,364.90. That's construction cost for repair. And what is transpired as of one of the last estimates is part of the road that we could have done base repair and leveling on now needs total reconstruction. And I'll just share a little bit of history on this road because it follows with what y'all have been talking about a little bit. In February 24th, we bid this project to repair and chip seal. Bid came in $1,112,784. And September 25, we bid it to repair and overlay $2,952,045 and change. I went back, Supervisor Howard, and looked at what the repair cost was then in that contract. Repair work then was $1,541,741. So between September 25 and now, the repair costs have gone up over $300,000 or more high. Now, that doesn't resurface the whole road. That's just repair and putting something over what we reconstruct. That's not the surface from end to end in that $1,835,364.
How much length is that?
The road is almost 10 miles.
Is that for the repair part?
That's for the repair part. That's not the surface.
And that's the major portion of that quote is the repairs.
Correct. Of the quote that we had in September of 25, I'll round it off. You had a $2.9 million proposal. 1.5 of that was repairs.
In a year when gas prices were going down, we're making raise $300,000 for repair costs. In an engineering world, why is it going up at that moment in history? Gas is going down, petroleum costs going down.
The repair cost was $1.5 million or so, and that was base repair, leveling, again, 10.
I'm saying, you're saying it's 1.1, what would make it go up 300,000?
Well, the difference though, the original bid was for base repair and chip seal. And that is just a condition of the roadway. The longer you wait, when they, you know, I've talked about this sometimes, but these roads get to a critical point. Once they open up, the water goes in, gets in the bays, traffic increases, and those repair costs go up.
You're saying the road graded that much, plus.
Degradation of the roadway. And recently, again, this last 300,000 or so is some increased logging traffic in there that's requiring us to reconstruct now as opposed to what we could have done some base repair and leveling.
Is it a log truck or a garbage truck the heaviest? So we started having that discussion this weekend on rerouting these log trucks, because I'm seeing that as a couple of years
They're
in.
very similar. The issue that we have with the waste management trucks is the turning and twisting and stopping and moving.
Are they on single axle, on the garbage truck, rear axle?
Tandem,
And
and that's it. On a log truck, it's spread out.
Yeah.
The weight is spread out.
They go up to 8,000 pounds?
No, log trucks are 88.
88.
well, it's not just that, Ben, and not to get too far off in weeds, but now yesterday in Clay County, I come out of property that had a skidder, pulling a tandem, pulling a grapple on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, and there's no telling what all that equipment.
That's the reason they ran it at that time.
That's right. I mean, there's just other stuff going on besides that. And Baker Road up there has been destroyed from one logging operation.
And I guess part of what happens is once the road starts to deteriorate,
Once that surface coat, whether it be a chip seal or an overlay, once that surface coat opens up and lets water and freeze get into that base, you're done. I mean, it's exponential amount of damage you're gonna have.
Yeah, that's kind of like, Martinez Road. I mean, just over a 3-week period, you see a big change in it. And, so it makes a big difference when that water and freezing weather is.
Now, just to speak to a couple of things that came up this morning, just very quickly. Supervisor Trainer spoke to fuel adjustments. We were fortunate, no crystal ball, but the contracts that y'all awarded last fall had a big old red line in the plan that said no fuel adjustment. So you're locked in at that price for those contracts. Now, state aid is not like that. More High Crawford, they'll get adjustment for fuel in there, so your state aid number will vary just a little bit. But those contracts that we let for District 2, for New Light, for Blackjack were locked in. So those costs are what they are. We talked quite a bit about expanding that road work to add roads or whatever. That would probably have to be negotiated now. In other words, the price per ton for asphalt now is different from what it was then. So if you add a road, I think we could still do the project, but your unit prices might vary a little bit. Any questions about that?
Well, there was a road added to the Blackjack project.
That's
I
already,
think that was all approved.
that's already locked
All
in.
locked in.
But I'm saying if we add another road,
Right.
then I probably gotta sit down and talk about that, about the cost of asphalt, the cost of fuel, and all the things that go with it. You made one statement a while ago, it's not totally true when you said the contractor could walk away. He can, but we have performance and payment bonds on those jobs. So we could go back to the bonding company, that's a lengthy, drawn out process, not always the best in the end.
Right.
But we do have some guarantee of them coming to work, and I have talked to all the contractors, they're ready to come in, they're ready to go.
well, given the uncertainty right now with oil prices and everything, looking at my funding, I've got enough money to add to the state aid to get the repairs done on this road. I think right now it'd be beneficial to go ahead and try and get those out the way if the board would be willing to authorize this, 684. Let me get myself.
That's 624, 634.
Yeah.
And let me just follow on, if we're gonna spend the state aid money on it, then I've gotta create a state aid project. And we gotta come to you with a program that shows that. Y'all have to pony up money just like we're talking on the other one for the balance of it, but we can do that. I'm just saying it won't, the chances it'll crowd us to get it done this summer, all of it. But we'd have to come back next week or next board meeting with a proposal.
But this price you just given, would this be locked in prices?
It won't be locked in if we go to state aid till we get a firm quote.
Because my concern is 2 months down the road, then we talking another $50,000 increase.
We won't have a locked in price till I get a bid. That's our estimate right now.
Okay. Well,
And I can't get a bid until I put a project out there. If it's got state aid money, I gotta go through the process to put it out there.
okay, well, we need a motion then to allow you to put a state aid project
Together for
Put
repair,
out for bid.
or I would.
Which project is that?
It does not have a project number now. State aid will assign it one when the program's approved. Right now, it's just Mavenville repair.
But wouldn't we get a better, perhaps a better bid if we just leave state aid out of it and use county funds?
To answer your question, yes. You would get.
And probably time.
You would get a hard number faster. I can put the job on the market quicker, advertise it, get a firm price if it was done wholly with county funds.
It just had to be built to state aid specification, I would think.
I still use state aid
Still use state aid.
specifications. I just don't have to go through their process, don't have to get program approved, don't have their review, all the things that goes with it to spend the state aid dollars.
Well,
That's y'all's decision.
Yeah, but the approach we're using is the same thing we're doing right now on Mohawk Road. Part state aid and part county fund.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, in lieu of all the things that have changed, we trying to expedite it.
Yeah.
Because see, we never know, we gotta get plans, and if we make it go and lock that price in.
Yeah, but District 3 doesn't have.
Well, I mean, you get county funds, the county funds just come anyway.
Yeah.
You want to call for 14, and then the rest will come out of the basic paragraph.
Right, that's correct.
Do you need a motion today? I mean, is that it?
We need a motion for him to set up a state aid project.
That's right. I wouldn't tie the money down today because the state aid funds will be changed by the next time I come in here. It's still not gonna be near enough to do the job. It's
Right.
gonna have to have a healthy amount of county
County
money
funds
in
anyway.
it. But what I need today to start the process is a motion to prepare a state aid project for Mavenville Road repair.
That's about how we wanna go.
Yeah.
I mean, my suggestion was that, and I'm not I don't want to overstep my boundary, but that's just my suggestion. I thought we could do it better with county funds, but is that where you wanna go? I'm with.
Where else the county fund gonna come from?
Well, we got funding here. I mean, we got money in a bond. The guy just told me we need to go ahead and get spent. We just have to replace that money back when time comes. If time is of essence.
I motion that we move forward with the plans for a state aid project on Mavenville Road.
Second that, because I don't want to put everybody else's funds in jeopardy to do this project.
But it's all the county money.
I understand.
It's all of the county money.
It's been motion and second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
The last thing I said, no, the government controls the there was a statement in there, and this is more, I guess, Wayne, for you and Rob, maybe. There's a difference between allocated and spent. When y'all had the bond monies and what have you, we advertised all this work in the fall. We suspended the work, which was the plan, but if the time restraints on actually spending these monies, we need to know that too. Again, there's a difference between allocated and spent.
Yes, of course, there is, yeah, and there's just between allocated, obligated, and spent, so I mean, all of these terms mean things. And to the point, I'll have to get, to answer, I think we're kind of conflating the conversation we had with Nick and with you. And at some point, we're gonna have to have a working session, sit down and work through both our 2024 bond money, figure out everything that's allocated, timeline, anticipated timelines of spent. And then, at that point, identify additional projects for the additional.
You have, in District 2 now, these are rough numbers, that you've got under contract about $3.5 million or so.
3.5.
In District 2 alone. We've got New Light Road under contract. We've got Blackjack under contract with a change order attached to it. So I can put those numbers together, but probably in the $5.5 million range plus that y'all have allocated right now. That's on the contract.
Yes, I would like to have an opportunity to get with you on an aside in preparation for our working session and get a really good, solid understanding of all of
Yeah,
that.
and the point I'm making again, and we did really good in the fall, y'all, to advertise this work. You know, no crystal ball, but we came out. But if there are time restraints on the money, when we set these contracts up, we set a time of completion in there. We need to know what those are. So could very easily give them more time than y'all got.
And I wanted to ask you, especially with the rising cost of the fuel and stuff like that, I know the city is doing their end to South Montgomery all the way to courthouse, to the red light this summer. They're redoing that, and you've given me, some quotes on doing the rest of South Montgomery.
Correct.
And when I ride out that way, that road has 0 shoulders on the other end now because of the water, and it just gets worse and worse down that way. Would it help if that project was done about the same time that the city was done?
You could realize some benefit from mobilization, but likely, and it's hard for me to speak for the city, I was part of the process, but likely they receive a unit rate for paving in the city limits in the spring that locked in their price per ton, just like we do for clay gravel or chip seal and all that. So you may not honor that same price. You might get the benefit of mobilization, but you may not get the benefit of the same price he's doing it for the city.
Would it be worthwhile for us to have that discussion with them and see if we can, to her point, it may be that we can get a deal on it somehow or another.
If you have an MOU that said they could change order whatever mechanism they're working through to do that link, we could put the plans together really quickly to do that.
Okay, I'm gonna call you this, it may be tomorrow.
Yeah.
It may be tomorrow, it ain't gonna be today. But you need to kind of give me some marching orders.
That's how that would have to work. It would be an MOU between the county and the city to extend that paving. We could produce the quantities in the typical section and the striping, yada, yada.
It would give us an opportunity to work with the city on something that we may have had a hard time in the past. I want us to try to find something we can work on.
Truer words have never been spoken.
You know where my head is.
That's all I got. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I would like to know how much is actually contract on the Blackjack project, which is a project of its two roads in that project.
Yes, sir.
So I'd like to know how much is actually we are obligated under contract to pay.
I think in light of the conversation today, Corey will have it real quick in my office. I'll just get y'all a summary of what's on the contract. Right.
Please.
And I did want to ask a question. Supervisor Wiggins had sent some pictures on Wiggins Road for how, that road does look pretty rough.
There's 3/10, the south 3/10 of that road has issues. I rode it last week, and I haven't figured out why. That road's almost 3 miles long. The very tail end of it is deteriorating. I'm not happy with it, but I don't know why yet. It could be a combination of that last 3/10 is built different from the rest of it. It could be traffic. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
I was just making sure while, you know, it's still new, that, you know, we can go back to the drawing
Again,
board.
2.7 miles out of 3 look really good, and the last 3/10, I'm trying to figure out what happened.
And I thank you very much, Supervisor Lowe, for bringing that to our attention. Appreciate that. There
When
is
you
an
go
issue.
through there now, smile, I got a camera on.
That is an issue. And it's more than 3/10, because we had to, about 100 feet, 100 feet had to be taken up completely.
That's all. It's basically from Lean Lane to the south end.
It's all the way from, Lanier.
Yeah.
It's from Lanier all the way to the south end.
Which is,
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I ain't figured it out, but there's something different about that end of the road.
I figured that there had to be, because the pictures that he had sent, I was like, oh.
Yeah, and again, the rest of the job looks really good.
Right, yeah.
Okay, anything else for me this morning?
I appreciate you looking at that and taking care of that situation. Our citizens deserve this, and we try to make sure they get the best.
So my walkaway today is on the town, I'll get a board order now to set up a state aid project for repair on the Maven Bank. Yes.
Yes, so this one.
And I'll furnish y'all a list of what you have on the contract now.
Once you get out on there and just ride Self Creek, I'm getting a lot of complaints about Self Creek and that area. I
I'm gonna
always have.
get 4 other supervisors to throw rocks at me here in a minute, but in my opinion, y'all asked me to do this, in my opinion, Self Creek is the next Maven Bell candidate. That'll turn, it's at that breaking point now where if we do some work on Self Creek and save it, we ignore it, it's gonna turn into another Maven Bell.
I get just one more closing, one more closing
One
question.
more closing question.
For me, anyway.
I hope you got it right by now.
How do we, be on site while the contractor is completing the job? What are our plans for being on site to make sure that so we won't have to go back because it's gonna cost someone some additional money. So I guess, how do we get it done right the first time?
Well, when the work is going on, we have a representative out there. And on Blackjack, first thing, I'll just give you an example on Blackjack right now. When we put the plans together a year or so ago, we estimated the repair and the leveling and the sections that needed work. We awarded the contract, we went back out and marked those and added 2 if we needed to. And then Willis Owens has been out there while they did those base repairs and leveling, see that. We're doing 2 things, we're watching work when we do that, and we're keeping up with quantities. So that we don't overrun a bunch of asphalt or overrun a bunch of base repair, or if we need it, I can come back to you and tell you, look, this road is advanced to a spot we need additional work. So we will have, if there's pay work going on, we're gonna have somebody out there. Okay?
Anything else for our county engineer? If not, thank you, Mr. Pritchett, for motion to acknowledge. Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passed 4-0.
Mr. President, I've spoken with our board attorney. He's got to leave, and he has a piece of business that he needs to move into executive session with the board prior to him rushing out of here. So if you would entertain a change to the agenda, to move Rob up in the process, and we're gonna need to move into executive session, I'll let him state the reasons.
The reason for the executive session is for 2 settlement agreements on 2 lawsuits dealing with the OCH and Baptist Transfer. These were leftover lawsuits that we were dealing with back then. This has nothing to do with any other issues we may have out there. This is only dealing with those 2, the 2 settlements we're dealing with OCH.
Need a motion to go into closed session to determine if we need to go into executive session. Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. We're now in close particular moment, the board needs to pass a board order to authorize our county attorney to accept a settlement of $200,000 pertaining to case 01-19-0001-2615. Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Little. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
And that's to accept a settlement.
Except seven. Okay, now we're back to our normal agenda. And next on the agenda, we've got our road manager, Mr. Victor Collins. Good morning.
Don't have much, just to kind of get a board update on some things that we left on the last meeting to take a look at. First one is, we met with Tom Bigby on the 135 Dock Lane situation, dealing with the ditch, and meeting with the gentleman and looking at it. He gave us some recommendations. One of them was not to remove the debris from the ditch coming in, because he said if we wanted to leave that as a buffer, if we took that debris out, it would speed up the water flow and actually cause more flooding. So, and then he also told us that we did need to clean out the lower part of the ditch. So we are going to actually, he's going to send us something to get to the administrator so we can go ahead on and get board approval to write that up and see about if the board approves it, work on getting that work done.
I have an email from him late Friday. I'm assuming it was about this project. I have not had an opportunity to dig into it.
All right. I told him that you were out this week, and I think he told us that he was going to email you and get you informed on what we needed to do.
Is Tom Bigby gonna remove that debris, or we gonna remove the debris?
They gonna clean it up just like they would clean up a creek. Right. They would pile the debris to let it deteriorate. Next thing, we went out on Blackjack Road the other day to make that repair to the bridge where the pillar needed to be done. I think the sheriff department may have gotten some calls. We got out there to do one thing that was thought we'd have been able to just close traffic off for a few minutes here and there. It turned into a project, and we ended up being able to do the work, but we had to close the road for the entire day. We got in there and we had a wing wall that half of it we had to cut out and dig it out to the creek. And they left the road kind of where we didn't want traffic traveling on the other half of it. So if you got any calls, that's what that was concerning. And also we did some work down on Artesia Road to try to, that thing had got in pretty bad shape. We did a little bit of asphalt work down there to try to get it back together. We had complaints of it where people had damaged some vehicles, and so we got that worked up. We spent a good bit, about a week down there working on it. Good bit of into repair, but we got it in pretty fair shape. Also, we haven't had a chance to, and we'll have them ready, so Wayne, we can present them at the next meeting. I need to get with our administrator just to see what our funding is gonna look like. But I got projects that was for District 1, 4, and 5 that we're gonna present those on the next board meeting, just to let y'all know what's what and get approval if you want us to proceed. That's all I have.
Mr. Collins, when we get some pretty decent weather, there's an approach over on Walkerville and Bridge.
Yes.
And they've patched that approach a little bit, but it's not gonna stay.
Yeah.
But when you get some good weather, maybe we can do a little asphalt over.
Yeah, we got a couple of repairs on some bridges. That one being one out on the road going towards your house is the next. That bridge has gotten in pretty rough condition too. Self Creek.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that bridge just below where we put the pipe in. We're gonna do a little work on that one because I went out on it and my truck kind of danced around sideways. Yeah.
It's such
Yeah.
an abrupt
And
approach.
we're gonna come in and take that. That's one good thing about that ground that we bought. That's a versatile machine. We able to take that joke and take it out, and when we got places we need to cut down, it will actually do that. Well, most of the mixer won't do it, but that machine will grind down asphalt.
That's all I have. Yeah.
Go, Ms. Carter. The person that keeps coming in about Johnson Road, that, maybe that's something that you can also do similar,
Yes,
similar
sir.
to what you're doing with the road that we're talking about now.
Yeah, that, we working our way that way. We had to go out on, like I said, we went out on Blackjack. It took us a little long out there, not the Artesian. It took us a little long out there, and then we spent about 3 days on Blackjack finishing that up. We got out there and it had a bad wash and the water line was exposed and we had to go in there and fix that, so we wouldn't have to go back out there when they got the pavement laid, because we didn't want to go out there and have equipment tripping on it, so we went on and took care of all of that while we were there.
And that's general maintenance.
Yes, yeah, that's just general maintenance. Yeah, we had to replace that bridge cap, and that was a little tedious project, but it went in so nice and pretty till we just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
We were able to unbolt that thing, slide that other one out of there, and put that other one in and line it up, and actually the bolts went in better than they came out.
Yeah, good job, good job. But, Johnson is general maintenance.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna get that taken care of.
And just, I'm so sorry.
No,
I didn't know if you were at a stopping point. I didn't, we got our garbage cans, right?
Yeah, we got those, yes, we got them. We get them as we need them.
Yeah.
So I think he picked up some
I
last
just
week.
remembered we hadn't gotten them yet, and I just want to make certain
we got them now.
anything else on road man?
Why don't you just give me, Neely Road's off, Sturgis Maiden Road, and what it is, people are running, they shoot about 50, 60 miles an hour both ways. It's kind of like a racetrack, the way it is. I keep getting a lot of, the dust is one thing, because they're flying through there at such a high rate of speed, but also it's a safety issue. I just, you're starting to get, instead of one person calling, starting to get different people calling there. It's just got excessive. I want to get your professional opinion if we just maybe turn that into a T more or less, get them to stop and look both ways the way it is now. And it's
Yeah, we need to look
they have
at
to
it.
cut across traffic to get down to Neely as they're rolling.
Yeah, we need to kind of assess that to see if we need to get right away. But yeah, it's an angling road now, and everybody turns in fast, and they run out on it and never stop. So it needs to be made into a joint intersection.
And it's gravel. I don't think it'd be that much we've got. It's not going to stop. I went out the other day and just standing with homeowners, and it was okay. This is obvious. They're running 55 and they're shooting on the chrome gravel, they're sliding. You can see rocks thrown all out the road.
Yeah, we need to take a look at that and see.
I want to say that your pad in front of the office is very professional, well done, and it looks good. I went in the other day, but whoever did that, it's just the appearance. Another thing makes the county look good when the visitors come in town.
Yeah, that was the material we had left over from doing the work up there at the, our other building, and we had to do something with it, and I said, well, let's put it in front of the
Did
shop.
you get the new tractors on the road? Are they out?
Yeah, they are there, and, we actually used one of them on Artesia Road the other day. They were used front end load.
Did you like the specs on them?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Did the cutters ever come in?
No, they had to manufacture those, being that they were 10 feet. So that was gonna happen. I think he told me they were gonna manufacture them at the end of this month, so we ought to get them in about 30 days from there. It's a good thing we did put in them from, like I said, we had a price increase and we got them while the price was down, because if we had waited about another week, we'll have a 5% increase on the tractors, so we did a good thing in going on ahead and getting them.
This is volatile time.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe the post office looks good.
Yeah.
What's the status of the ditch?
We just got a little bit of dirt work we got to do up there around it, concrete to dress it up.
It looks good though.
What's the status of the ditching machine situation?
We got the grader ready. I actually went in and had some work done to take off some stuff. I talked with the guy over at where they manufacturing it, and we had a couple of pieces we had to take off. I had Mr. Yates to take those pieces off, and it's sitting ready. As soon as I get a phone call, I will take it to him. And we actually need it because we got some gravel road that really need ditching.
Yes. Last thing, are we working on a plan to get those Sun Creek bridges so Dee can get those? Wiped out?
We're gonna, I got on the track hole, it had to have tracks on it, the big one. As soon as we get it back, we'll start digging up those trees and cutting them down and getting that stuff cleared away so we can get that stuff widened up.
We're gonna have to maintain the rental on that compactor. For how long are we gonna keep doing that?
That compactor, we're actually using it right now.
Well, I'm asking, I'm just curious. Do we have, I mean, we're renting it, are we going, we've had it a while.
It may be to the standard where we can purchase that machine. I'd have to, when Deanna gets back, I'll take a look into it and see if it's at that status.
All right, anything else?
Yeah, thank you for the work that you've been doing on Dock Lane.
Okay.
On Dock Lane, I realize you got some other figures for us too on that.
Yes.
Just a question going out, the speed bumps, is there a possibility of having a lower profile?
That was the lowest one we were able to find.
That's the lowest
Yes.
one?
Yeah, those were the lowest one we
You
were able
really
to find.
have to actually stop on those.
Well, not really. If they hit them, I can hit them about 25 to 30 miles an hour with my truck and it never feels it.
Yeah, the same ones that are on,
I think that over the years, however, it's not good for the automobile. But anyway, there's one, the last one that was put in doesn't have a sign to let people know that it's there. Thank you very much thanks for all that you do. I appreciate your work and appreciate your effort.
All right.
Anything else?
How do we get no litter signs? I just make a request.
So, yeah, just make a request with me and I'll get them to make them up.
Motion to acknowledge road manager report, motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Carver, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Next, County Administrator, Mr. Carver.
Good morning, I got one item, most of my business taken care of on the consent agenda. In the presentation earlier, MedStat had come and talked about some of their issues and concerns and the good things that they're doing for the county. In anticipation of this upcoming contract renewal, I put together a proposal for the board to consider and authorize me to try and execute, which is to establish an emergency services committee to kind of help manage this transition, whether it stays with MedStat or moves to somebody else, but to work with Baptist and making sure that we get good service in the county. Phase one through this initial July 1st, June 30th contract renewal period, and then potentially move on over into phase two, which we've already had lengthy conversations about the desire to establish a countywide EMS district, right? And so I'd like for this committee to kind of stay charged with working through the policies, working through the plan to try and implement something like that, and to keep this board informed as we move forward. My proposal is initially to put myself, the 911 coordinator, the EMA director, and the fire coordinator on this committee. At some point, if we're able to transition to a countywide EMS district, then it'll kind of be the framework, and we'll have to, repurpose it, and transition it over to a larger committee that might involve both Starkville and MSU. But initially, all I'm asking for is to establish this committee to manage the July the 1st contract renewal and work with Baptist and making sure we get good service on that. And then secondly, to move forward in a strategic planning to see what it's going to take to implement an EMS district.
Need a motion? Motion by Supervisor Carver, second by Supervisor Little. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
So to your questions, that concludes my portion of the
Okay, next on the agenda, we've got, Sheriff Department. Chief Johnson.
We don't have anything, we see y'all in county meeting.
All right. Okay, next we've got our Chancery Clerk, Ms. Livingston.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Now, our board attorney has already addressed his, portion. Okay, next we've got county business. Do you want to come forward now?
Mr. Carter, I think you got.
It's been a topic of conversation. I've spoken with a couple of supervisors about it, and I know that at least one of y'all have reached out to the jail administrator regarding litter and the significant problem that we're having with litter. You just asked about trying to put out some litter signs. I'm getting a lot of complaints. I know y'all are getting a lot of complaints. Litter has just increased tremendously, and I don't understand why. Regardless of that, one of the conversations that's been had is trying to stand up a second litter patrol, for lack of a better way to say the word. We currently have one team in place. They go out and pick up litter around the county. They work 5 days a week. They putting in 7.5 hours by the time you transport them out and have to get them back to lunch and all those kinds of things. I think they putting in roughly 7 hours a day picking up litter. I put a cost estimate, just some sort of kind of plan together in your packet to kind of put before you for consideration. I don't guess I'm looking for you to approve us to go ahead and execute it. I just wanted you to kind of have an idea of how we might, then authorize me and Captain Word to go back and actually put the pencil to it and do all the details. This happened pretty quickly. I was out last week. I came back to it. I put this little plan of action together to try and get my head wrapped around it, and I've spoken briefly with Captain Word. I think the sheriff may have something to add. We will, he had a consideration of possibly needing a dump trailer, which we would then add to that plan. But at this point, I'm just wanting we need to put more work into this.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah.
All right. So that's what I'm looking for is y'all are behind the effort. Now let us go sharpen our pencils and figure out exactly how we want to do it.
I do want to add in there, when y'all were doing these considerations and stuff, I do feel like we need to look at open litter signs and make it posted at places, making it more visible of, hey, if you litter, you're gonna be fined XYZ, not $100, something that hurts. Because if it hurts, you're not gonna do it.
Well, we're gonna
And litter is terrible.
We're gonna take, as a part of this effort, we're gonna see or discuss whether or not we need to implement some ordinances to put some teeth into
I
what
say
we're
go
talking
ahead
about,
and write it up.
as well as developing the equipment, the manning, and how to stand this thing up.
For now, you're proposing one man on the truck. 'Cause that's what this was.
One man in a truck and a dump trailer.
Well, what's in what I wrote up for you is one man in a truck.
But y'all developed the
Subsequent to
program.
that, we've discussed the possibility of a dump trailer, and so when we figure all this out, we'll bring it to you.
You got a full man.
No, I was gonna say, I would also like to say that we probably need to get with, where y'all have been sending out the crews the most frequently. As, you know, Supervisor Carver asked for, you know, no litter signs, we can, you know, get with our road manager and get our sign department to go ahead and put some no litter signs up on those particular roads immediately, you know, if we can, to where when the fine stuff comes along, it's not like it jumps out at anybody, you know, out there, because I just think we need to be more vocal throughout the entire county that we, you know, litter free. We want to have a clean, litter free county.
Well, I know y'all get tons of phone calls on it. And, you know, before we have caught several folks that we processed, we've charged them with, you know, most of them. I'm not saying this to fine, but we get with them, I think, Dick's had to send road crews out there. I didn't figure out how much it costs for you sending your guys out there to clean it up. And I think they're responsible for that part. But you won't have to catch but a couple and then stop. Mostly on these tires and other things, they dump it off in the creeks and the bridges. So we need to,
I'm seeing just where you're on litter. I mean, just people just throwing out McDonald's bags.
This morning, I know we had a discussion on whether or not we want to think of putting dumpsters in each district, making people aware that there is a place for them to go to dump their trash. You know, those people that work Monday through Friday, sometimes they do weekends and evening work. Sometimes those people just looking for places to discard stuff.
We've.
I tell mine to stop at the shop.
Yeah, that helped. We've had that conversation pretty extensively, when I was on the garbage board, and then I'm sure it'll come up again with you. But that doesn't always go over real well, and they start to envision when dumpsters used to sit around,
Right.
how they would get full and then trash would just be
Build up around it.
everywhere on the ground, and then somebody has to sort of get out and pick it up. But I mean, you know, it's worth I guess revisiting and maybe.
Well, I know on New Light Road, there's a dumpster, 3 dumpsters in one apartment complex. And there's one place on New Light Road, like those apartments. The dumpsters are right down the road in the apartment complex, but they have a tendency to just throw it on the side of the road. Drop stop.
They gotta know we mean business, and I don't think the county put that message out yet. And you can,
Most of the littering come from people just
Drive down.
open the window and throw the bag out the car when they get through eating.
Well, Captain Word can attest. This Maitland Starkville Road, Lord of mercy, and I think what happens is people get off work, they go by the fast food joints, they get that to-go order, and they're eating it along the way home, and about time they get ready to turn to go to Maitland, they finished it and they slowed down just enough doing that turn to sling it out, and there are several areas around the county that's just notorious for over and over and over again.
I'd rather work on this fast, just know if we start cutting in the next few weeks. So, I mean, I think never seen us all raise both hands, but whatever y'all need, I mean, let us know. This is just bush hogs hit stuff.
Well, I want to do something comprehensive. Sheriff had a good idea about the dump trailer. Chief's got some good ideas, and, you know, trying to identify the areas where we need signs, as well as the ordinance possibilities, what we can do there along with the additional crews. So,
and I think we have to have an educational element involved in it too, because evidently people don't realize we're running 2 trucks, and I want to make sure you coordinate Mr. Collins in there too.
oh, yes.
Because people need to understand, you know, what to do with certain things. I just can't figure out. And this happened to me the other day, and I can take credit for this. I was going to the landfill, and I passed 3 gentlemen with a couch on their truck. So I just assumed they were stopping to just stabilize their load until they got where they were going. I was heading east to the landfill to take some tire. They were heading west. So I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I didn't automatically assume that they were going to do anything but secure their load and go about. So when I went to the landfill and came back, they left the couch on the road. I didn't fault them. I fault myself. All I had to do is stop and say, hey guys, can I help y'all do whatever? And maybe snap a picture of the truck or whatever and keep going. So we out there by the landfill.
Yeah.
So what we're going to have to do, we're going to do education. We're going to have to hold them accountable. And I think our citizens would really appreciate it. I think they really would. So whatever we need to do to develop a program to educate people, let people know. If they call the shop, give them the number, put it curbside, you'll come back and get it. Why would you wanna take time out of your day to put it on your truck and go dump it in the creek and do something illegal? When we got a mechanism in place, all you gotta do is notify us with them.
Educational piece.
All we have to do is call them.
And I see them two trucks running good. I mean, I don't say how we made with one. I don't say we made without it.
We actually need another.
Maybe our friendly neighborhood reporter will help us get get some communication going, and we'll try and work through a communication plan as well, as we try and roll out something.
But we certainly give you all the charge to move forward and developing and make it comprehensive and, you know, whatever we need to do.
And I'm wondering, should we even work with Mississippi State on this? You know, where, you know, it's the county and, you know, because, you know, college kids litter too. You know, especially out there by the, you know, apartments and everywhere else. That if we have a litter campaign, if it's going on campus and countywide, that the word will spread faster.
Do we have any county funds available that we could maybe even do a commercial or something, just telling people about why it's important?
Well, and I put some of this information in your package. We have a sanitation fund, I can't think of the exact name of the fund. But that fund has, I mean, it's a healthy fund. It's got about, what did I put in there, $580,000 in it. Now, the trick was prior to us passing the rate increase, right, we were running in the red just a little bit every month, and that was trickling it on down. I've only had an opportunity to look at the last 3 months, but based on what I'm seeing, you know, since the rate increase took place in October, is we're looking at about a $10,000 a month surplus. It would kind of be my estimation. And we cutting it close. We're coming in a little bit under and a little bit over, but across the 3 month period, we've gained, you know, so we've gained a little bit of ground. I'd like to see us have about 6 months worth of expenses in there, which my estimation would be about $700,000. But we do have that surplus. The reason we keep it in there is for things like this, right? Could we purchase the truck and the dump trailer out of there? Could we use those funds to do a commercial campaign of some kind to help us with a solid proposal?
And we also have to make that annual purchase of garbage cans.
Oh, yes, sir, that additional purchase that we do. But all of that's contracted and.
All right. Anything else? Well, listen, I've got to tell Captain Word that we certainly appreciate. I don't know how you all do it, but you get it done. You get it done. We appreciate it. Sheriff and Chief, thank y'all for everything. All right.
That's all I have for county business.
Okay. Starting to my far right, Supervisor Little, you got anything coming out?
I think we have covered everything in the meeting.
All right. Supervisor Carter, Supervisor Williams.
Well, the situation with the Williams Road situation, that's gonna continue to be a problem if we don't act on it. And I think the warranty of the road is going to eventually be no longer in existence. And we just continue with conversation. Then the warranty is gonna be off. By the time we really get out and make some demands to do something. So it's gonna be my motion that we have our county attorney to make communication with the contractor. Not to just have communication between the board members, but that our county administrator make communication with the contractor and make recommendation for review and repair.
Got a motion?
Second.
Motion by Supervisor.
Who's contacting, you said county attorney, but then the second time you said county administrator.
I'm sure you would be part of
Yes, sir, I'll try to make sure that happens.
that.
Yes, sir.
So, I guess just to clarify the motion will be to allow our county attorney to, make official correspondence.
Make official correspondence.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Anything else out of?
And the county administrator, I'm sure you have some role to play.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. I just wanted to make certain I understood who you were pointing the finger at to make it happen.
Right. Okay. Thank you for your work there.
Yes, sir.
I don't have anything.
Anything coming out of District Two?
Nothing more than, I think we got an invite to attend a function out on MSU dealing with the spring football and some other things.
Oh, yeah.
And I was asked about if you all wanted to go, you need to let them know so they can make arrangements. I think it's an opportunity to go and to interact with the football team and also to get some presentation concerning some things that MSU is going to do sports-wise. So I just got an email on that. So if you're interested in that, please respond back to that. Other than that, Mr. Chairman, just a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I think the first practice start day after tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay. So I guess we need to correspond pretty.
Just correspond through email. I think there's an email out there.
Okay, all right. Thank you for noting that.
We'll get some email.
I do, I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. President, are you gonna be able to speak at that, Memorial Day event coming up in May? I need to tell them whether or not you'll take on that or get one of you guys to do it.
I can unless another board member wants to. If not, yeah, go ahead and have them.
All right, I'll reply back to them. And it'll be that normal thing that we do every year.
Okay, all right. I have nothing coming out of District 3, but again, thank you all so much for the support, and the kindness. With that being said, motion to adjourn. Motion until April 6th at 9 a.m. Motion by Supervisor Carter, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes. We're now adjourned.